One of the big things that people are doing on social media, and make no mistake, this is one of the reasons why the whole thing with Anheuser-Busch keeps going, is because of social media and this staying fresh in people's minds. So another person went and took a video of a stocked cooler and pointed out once again that Miller, Cooler, all the other brands were looking pretty low. Looked like people were regularly going in there and grabbing them. And then he went to the Bud Light section, and it was completely stocked because nobody's buying that. Nobody wants it. Nobody's buying it. And this is what's so great about social media is you get to see that every day. Now, what's interesting is that because they're so stocked up, eventually, by the fall, if things don't change, Bud Light is going to lose shelf space at just about every outlet. And why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because of the fact that if they lose shelf space to competitors, it sets it as a norm that Bud Light just isn't that popular when you compare it to other brands. So when you go in there and you see an entire cooler dedicated to a Modelo or Miller or Coors or whoever, and then you just see Bud Light on 3 shelves instead of an entire cooler end, like the open up the glass door, it's all Bud Light. Well, that won't be the case anymore. And that is going to set a norm. A lot of prestige gone from that brand. And they're never going to get it back. I don't think, like I've said before, I don't think it's not going to end. The brand will probably still continue on because eventually this will calm down. However, the problem with this going on as long as it has is it's permanently damaging the brand. Anheuser-Busch is permanently damaged from this. Even when it blows over, they're going to lose shelf space, and a lot of prestige is lost. They're not going to be number one anymore. Bud Light is running out of time and could lose market share forever. Brand will lose retail shelf space to Miller and Coors if they cannot reverse plunging sales, warns ex-Anheuser-Busch executive. Some interesting stuff here, and they talk about what I'm saying. Those brands will have a better likelihood to succeed longer term because they have more shelf space, they have more inventory, and they will have more back stock, and they will have more availability for consumers, he argued. That almost permanently then locks in this as the new norm of where their sales will be and what their share of the beer category will be. He said that the vast majority of beer sales, some 80 to 90%, occur at traditional retail outlets as opposed to sales at bars and restaurants. They need to figure out a strategy. It needs to make a statement about who their customers are and who they're going to serve now and try to regain those customers now in June and July, because by the time it's August, September, it's too late. So this is the same guy that predicted that Bud Light was not going to be the number one beer by Memorial Day. He was right. We talked about that a couple days ago. Memorial Day, it was revealed that Modelo was now number one, which is a confusing situation because, as I've said, Modelo is run by 2 companies. Some brand named, I think it's called Constellation, owns the rights to Modelo in America. And then outside of America, Modelo is run by Anheuser-Busch. Now, whether or not Anheuser-Busch gets any of the money from American Modelo sales, I don't know. I'm not sure. But Bud Light, not the number one beer anymore. This guy was right. So now, if by August and September, he's saying, they don't start selling again, then the brand is permanently damaged. It's wild. Wild stuff. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I think if things keep going like they are, you might see this last into the summer. And that would, for sure, cement their loss of sales space. Even if they were to pick back up a little bit in July. They take the sales data from multiple months, not just one. So I think you're going to see Bud Light lose a lot of shelf space. Because that really is how it is when you walk into those places. Like, there's a whole section of a cooler that's just Bud Light. Because every time I go grocery shopping or go to the store, I always look to see what it looks like. And it's always fully stocked every time I go in there. And the other sections, like, you could tell people have been picking through them every day. Well, at least the days that I've gone in there. I don't know about every day. But it's funny to watch. Speaking of funny to watch, Target also in some trouble. I'm sure you're well aware. And what happens is now you've got both sides mad at them because they gave in to the backlash, which of course caused a lot of the leftist activists to get very upset. So they start digging in on the company, and they found out that last year, or at least during the 2022 midterm elections, they were donating shitloads of money to Republicans. And now that's becoming big news, and it's pissing off the left. So now they've got both sides mad at them. Both sides. Like, this is turning into the new Bud Light. This is already the new Bud Light. Like, they've lost a shitload of money. And like I said before, this hurts them a little bit more than it does like Anheuser-Busch because they're just a good store. Like, nothing in Target is mandatory. They don't really sell food. I think they sell a little bit of food. Some sell a lot of food. I think they call those like super Targets. But for the majority, Target, it's like clothes and some other goods. That's it, really. Like, they're not a mandatory store. You don't need anything in there, really. Everything else you can get other places. Clothes, you can just go to the websites and order them now. So like, there are, like, already, when you look at what's going on with all these other retail shops, like, they're already hanging on by a thread. So them losing all this money that they're losing, like, that's not good for them. Like, you could seriously, possibly, if this goes on and on and on, see them possibly close and shut down a lot of stores. I mean, it's not like Bud Light. I mean, those are just automatically picked up by every store. I mean, this is a store. This is a brand. So I don't know. We'll see. They're not in a good spot. They've lost billions. Their stock's on hold now. It's not good for them. Like, you could see them get in a lot of trouble. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you let me know in the comments how you feel about all this. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.